Have you ever really stopped to think about how you learn? I mean, not just picking up facts, but how your brain actually, well, reshapes itself.
It's pretty amazing when you dig into it.
Mm.
And how does that incredible human ability mesh with everything changing around us?
Yeah.
Especially, with AI stepping onto the scene.
Exactly. It feels like AI is rewriting the rule book for knowledge itself.
It really is. It's more than just like a tech upgrade.
Yeah.
It feels fundamental, this meeting point between how our minds work and this whole new way of accessing and maybe even creating knowledge.
Yeah, it potentially changes everything. That's why today we're doing a deep dive into the science of human new learning and training advances.
Sounds complex, but we'll break it down.
Right. Our mission really is to cut through all the hype and the noise and give you a solid, interdisciplinary shortcut. We want you to really get a handle on this crucial, fast-moving field.
So we're looking at how humans acquire knowledge, how we process it, how we apply skills, but focusing on these new methods popping up.
And their impact, right? The ripple effects on individuals, on society, is huge.
And the basis for this deep dive, it's quite unique. It comes from this detailed AI-driven scientific study.
AI studying AI and learning, that's interesting.
Well, yeah, it analyzed a massive amount of information. Neuroscience, psychology, history, philosophy, even environmental science.
Yeah.
All distilled down for us.
Okay, let's start then. Foundational science. Maybe the brain's most incredible trick. Neuroplasticity. We hear that word a lot, but what is this malleable brain really doing?
Right. So neuroplasticity at its core is just the brain's amazing ability to change and adapt. And not just when you're a kid, but throughout your entire life.
That's the surprising part, isn't it? That it keeps happening.
Absolutely. We used to think brain development pretty much stopped in childhood. But research, especially from the latter half of the 20th century, really hammered home that adult brains stay plastic. They keep reorganizing, growing based on our experiences.
So how does that actually work? What's changing?
It means learning isn't just downloading files onto a fixed hard drive. It's physically altering the brain structure. Two main ways, really. Functional changes, like if one brain area gets damaged, sometimes another area can actually learn to take over its job. And then structural changes, the actual physical architecture, the connections between neurons, they change density, strength, directly because of learning.
Wow. And that enables, well, everything. Learning new things, getting better at stuff, even recovery.
Exactly. Acquiring knowledge, enhancing cognitive skills, recovering from neurological damage. It all relies on this plasticity.
So what fuels it? How do we kind of boost this brain adaptability?
Well, age plays a role, obviously, but a huge factor is having an enriching environment.
What does that mean exactly? An enriching environment?
Think about places or situations that demand focused attention, offer novelty, present you with, engaging challenges. Things like learning a language or a musical instrument.
Travel, art.
Yes. Travel, creating art, even just reading widely. Physical exercise is huge too. And mindfulness practices, they all contribute. They actually promote the growth of vital proteins in the brain, like BDNF, which helps neurons survive and connect.
Okay, you mentioned physical structure. Let's get granular. What's happening right down at the neuron level?
We're talking synapses.
Yeah.
Those tiny little gaps where neurons pass signals. It all comes back to Donald Hebb's famous idea. Neurons that fire together, wire together.
Heard that one.
Basically, if two neurons are active around the same time, the connection, the synapse between them gets stronger. That's called long-term potentiation, LTP. Think of it like wearing a path in a forest. The more you use it, the clearer it gets.
Makes sense.
But just as important is the opposite, long-term depression, LTD. That's when connections you don't use get weaker. It's like pruning the garden. Clears out the old stuff, makes room for new growth, new learning.
So this really muddies the water on the whole nature versus nurture thing, doesn't it?
It really does. It's way more intricate than one or the other. Your learning ability isn't just set by your genes. It's this constant dance between your genes and your experiences.
Experiences can change how genes work.
They can literally turn genes on or off. So while some brain stuff related to learning definitely has a genetic component, things like education, the environment you're in, they are incredibly powerful. They can seriously boost or sadly diminish skills, even those with a genetic basis.
So no fixed intelligence.
Pretty much shatters that deterministic view. Your potential isn't fixed at birth. It's dynamic.
Okay, if learning is this constant rewiring, this physical change, what does that imply for how we should design, say, AI for education?
Great question. It means AI shouldn't just be about delivering content like a glorified textbook. It needs to facilitate active neural reorganization.
Active reorganization, like helping the brain rewire itself.
Exactly. And it should encourage unlearning too. Getting rid of misconceptions is just as vital as learning new things. AI needs to provide diverse, challenging experiences that really stimulate those complex synaptic connections.
Is there a risk here?
There is, a subtle one. Negative or, frankly, boring, unstimulating experiences can lead to maladaptive plasticity. The brain adapts, but in unhelpful ways.
So it underscores the need for positive learning environments.
Absolutely critical. And AI needs to be really sensitive to that, ensuring it fosters health and positivity, not just efficiency.
That's a really powerful way to frame it. Okay, let's shift a bit to the big psychological theories that have tried to explain how we learn. The oldest kid on the block, behaviorism.
Right, behaviorism. Think J.B. Watson, B.F. Skinner. Their focus was almost entirely on observable behavior, stimulus response, rewards and punishments.
Like training Pavlov's dogs?
Sort of, yeah. They pretty much ignored what was going on inside the head, the black box. Skinner famously said teaching was just the arrangement of contingencies of reinforcement. Basically, set up the right rewards and punishments and learning happens.
But people weren't totally satisfied with that, right? Felt like something was missing.
Exactly. That dissatisfaction led to cognitive constructivism, largely thanks to Jean Piaget. This was a huge shift.
Yeah, so
It moved away from learning as passive absorption. Piaget argued that knowledge is actively constructed by the learner. You build understanding based on what you already know, your developmental stage, your culture, your personal history, all of it.
So the learner is in the driver's seat.
Pretty much. And the instructor's role changes completely, not a dispenser of facts, but a facilitator, guiding discovery, and the motivation. It comes from within, intrinsic. You learn because you're curious, you want to understand.
Okay, so we have external conditioning from behaviorism and internal construction from constructivism. Where does Albert Bandura's social learning theory fit in?
Bandura kind of bridged the gap, really nicely actually. He pointed out that we learn a huge amount simply by watching other people. Imitation modeling behavior.
Learning by example.
Exactly. And seeing someone else get rewarded or punished for something that's vicarious reinforcement, it definitely influences our own behavior. But Bandura also brought cognitive factors back in. Things like self-efficacy, your belief in your own ability to succeed, and self-regulation, your ability to manage your own learning process. He saw this dynamic interplay, this reciprocal relationship between your behavior, your environment, and your own personal factors like thoughts and feelings.
So what do you need for that kind of observational learning to happen?
Bandura outlined 4 key things. You need to pay attention to the model. You need to retain what you saw in memory. You need to be physically able to reproduce the action. And, crucially, you need the motivation to actually do it.
Looking at that whole progression, behaviorism, cognitivism, social learning, what's a big takeaway for AI in education today?
It shows this growing understanding, this recognition of human agency, right? The importance of our internal mental states, our thoughts and feelings, and the huge role of social context.
So purely behaviorist AI models aren't enough.
They're definitely insufficient for complex human learning. AI has to do more. It needs to facilitate that active knowledge construction we talked about. It needs to support intrinsic motivation, not just rely on external rewards. And has to leverage social interaction, because we learn so much from and with each other.
And ethically.
Ethically, it means AI should empower learners, give them agency, encourage them to be active participants, not just subjects being conditioned by an algorithm.
Okay, let's broaden this out. What makes us smart? It's obviously way more complex than just an IQ score.
Oh, absolutely. Human smarts is this incredibly tangled web. Genetics play a role, sure. Biological processes in the brain are fundamental. And then you have all these complex cognitive mechanisms.
Like educational achievement, such as genetics?
Well, studies show it's highly heritable, yeah. But heritability isn't just about raw intelligence genes. Personality traits, even certain psychological predispositions, they all factor into that heritability estimate for educational success.
So the brain's malleability, the neuroplasticity we started with, that ties directly into this idea of smart.
It's the absolute core of it. That plasticity, that ability to change, is driven by this constant gene-environment interaction. Your experiences, partly through the hormones they release, literally sculpt your brain's architecture.
Which really throws out any idea of fixed intelligence again.
Completely. Smarts are dynamic systems, not fixed attributes you're born with. And this is critical for AI development. Effective AI learning systems can't just look at cognitive models. They have to consider biological constraints, too.
Like what kind of constraints?
Like sensitive periods in brain development, times when it's much easier to learn certain things, like language. And the whole environmental context matters hugely. AI itself is becoming a new, powerful environmental input, shaping that development.
AI as an environmental input, that's a heavy thought. And when we talk cognitive processes, memory, decision-making, how do we even study those?
It's fascinating. Scientists use these really precise methods, often involving mathematical modeling. Think of things like the Atkinson-Shiffrin model for memory stages, or drift diffusion models for decision-making. It's like building intricate maps of how the mind processes information, how we weigh options.
Bringing math and computer science into psychology and neuroscience.
Exactly. It allows for really rigorous understanding of these incredibly complex mechanisms that underpin all learning.
And the ultimate goal, often, of advanced learning is critical thinking, right? Going beyond just memorizing.
Critical thinking is absolutely key. It's about distinguishing fact from fiction, especially now. Synthesizing huge amounts of information, evaluating arguments, solving complex, messy problems, uncovering new ideas.
Like moving up Bloom's taxonomy, from remembering to creating.
Precisely. Moving from those lower-order skills to higher-order thinking. And if you zoom out, it's about integrating educational neuroscience, the hardware, the neurons, synapses with educational psychology, the software, the functionality, the learning outcomes.
The holistic view.
Yes. A holistic approach aims to really optimize teaching, maybe using AI, based on understanding the whole student, not just their test scores. It means supporting motivation, self-regulation, emotional well-being too. Those non-cognitive factors are just as important.
Okay, sticking with frameworks, let's pivot to history. How have learning and education systems evolved over time? It seems they've always reflected the society they were in.
They absolutely have. Look at ancient civilizations. Education was always purpose-driven, wasn't it? Sparta needed soldiers, so education was military-focused.
Athens, citizenship, arts.
Right, Rome, rhetoric, law. Early on, it was often apprenticeship models, skills passed down directly. Then came more formal curricula.
And the Industrial Revolution must have been a massive shakeup.
Huge turning point. The rise of public education, pushed by people like Horseman in the U.S. The goal, prepare a workforce for factories, for offices. So the focus became literacy, numeracy, basic vocational skills.
Which then led to different ideas like progressive education.
Exactly. Thinkers like John Dewey reacting against that factory model, emphasizing hands-on, experiential learning, problem solving. You see echoes of that in Montessori Waldorf schools today.
And technology. It's always been part of the story, even simple tech.
Always. From horn books, those little wooden paddles with lessons, to magic lantern projectors, then radio classrooms, overhead projectors, videotapes, even Skinner's teaching machine in the 50s.
And PCs, the internet.
Right. Personal computers in the 80s, then the internet completely changed access and methods. And this history holds a really important lesson for AI.
Which is?
Innovation in education often just reacts to new tech. There's a real risk of just bolting AI onto the old systems without thinking deeply.
Automating outdated practices.
Potentially, yes. Or making inequalities worse without meaning to. The absolute key is that AI integration must be guided by a deep understanding of how humans actually learn and by strong ethical principles. Otherwise, we just repeat old mistakes with fancier tools.
And this connects to that darker side knowledge as power, information control throughout history.
Yeah, this is fascinating and a bit chilling. Knowledge and education have always been incredibly powerful tools for control, for propaganda, for shaping how people see the world.
Like ancient empires.
Think Egyptian pharaohs using giant monuments and religious stories to legitimize their power. Or the medieval church controlling knowledge through universities, controlling manuscript production, even outright censorship, like the Index Librorum Prohibitorum, the list of forbidden books.
The printing press changed that, presumably. Democratized things.
It did, massively. But rulers and churches immediately reacted with new forms of censorship and control. Then jump to the 20th century, mass media, radio, film, becoming powerful tools for state propaganda.
Nazi Germany, the Soviet Union.
Exactly. Joseph Goebbels, Hitler's propaganda minister, had that infamous quote about repeating a lie often enough.
Yeah.
It chillingly highlights the power of controlling the narrative.
And you see parallels today, online.
Absolutely. Manipulative algorithms, creating filter bubbles and echo chambers, state-sponsored disinformation campaigns, cyber operations. It's the same game, just with new technology. Young people are particularly vulnerable to online misinformation.
So AI makes this even more challenging.
Unprecedentedly so. AI's ability to generate realistic text, images, videos, and personalize it at scale. It's a massive challenge to discerning truth, to individual autonomy. This means new learning advances can't just be about tech skills. They must fundamentally shift education towards robust critical thinking, sharp media literacy, ethical reasoning. We need the skills to navigate this AI-saturated information environment.
Otherwise, the risk is...
Widespread societal manipulation, erosion of democratic norms. It's serious.
And beyond direct control, education has also been a battleground for cultural narratives, sometimes reinforcing bias.
Definitely. Education is never neutral territory. Think about historical examples in the U.S. American Indian boarding schools designed explicitly for forced assimilation, stripping children of their language and culture.
Or denying access.
Denying access to public schools for Chinese American children in some places, or laws in the 1800s making it a crime to teach enslaved black people to read or write. Even after segregation was legally dismantled, the cultural and social-emotional needs of many students were often neglected.
So the implication for AI tools in education
Is that they must be designed with cultural sensitivity and anti-racist principles from the ground up. It's not enough to just sprinkle in diverse content. It requires a genuine transformation of educational structures to foster empathy, understanding, and actively avoid perpetuating historical biases baked into data or design.
This sounds like a recurring theme, progress but also paradox. Learning advancements seem to simultaneously lift society and deepen existing divides.
That tension is absolutely central. Expanding public education, land-grant universities, the growth of high schools, all promised greater access. Technology like computers and the internet held similar promises.
But the reality wasn't so simple.
No. The benefits haven't been evenly distributed. We see credentialism, where degrees become status symbols, often reinforcing inequality because higher education, especially elite institutions, remains out of reach financially or culturally for many.
And then the digital divide layered on top of that.
Precisely. Socioeconomic gaps in access to computers, reliable internet. It clearly disadvantages students from low-income backgrounds or minority groups. And it's not just access, it's the quality of access and the skills to use technology effectively.
The digital use divide.
Right. Some students use tech actively, creatively. Others are stuck in passive consumption. This creates a kind of digital winner-take-all effect, amplifying existing advantages.
So AI, with its promise of personalization, could actually make this worse.
That is the major risk. If AI tools are expensive, require high-end tech, or are implemented without considering these equity issues, they will exacerbate disparities. Achieving the potential benefits requires intentionally designing for equity, actively dismantling those barriers through policy, funding, and critical awareness.
Okay, let's focus now squarely on AI's impact, present, and future. Personalized learning and adaptive systems. What's the big promise everyone talks about?
The promise is huge, really. It's about moving beyond that outdated one-size-fits-all classroom. AI can analyze how an individual student learns, their strengths, weaknesses, pace, and then tailor the experience.
How does that work in practice?
AI can recommend specific content, adjust the difficulty level in real time, offer personalized feedback. It does this by analyzing patterns in vast amounts of student data, how they answer questions, how long they take, where they stumble.
So the learning environment itself adapts.
Exactly. Adaptive learning platforms adjust lessons on the fly. If you're getting it, you move faster, get harder problems. If you're struggling, you get more support, maybe a different explanation. Think AI-powered educational games that are always at the right challenge level, making learning really engaging.
And this supports skill development, learner agency.
Yes, it aligns well with cognitive science. Things like learning by doing, putting concepts in authentic context. It can definitely support deep skill development. And by giving learners more control over their pace and path, it can foster agency, self-direction, hopefully leading to lifelong learning habits.
But you mentioned filter bubbles earlier. Is there a risk that this hyper-personalization narrows a student's view?
That's a really important concern. If the AI only ever gives you what it thinks you need based on past performance, you might miss out on diverse perspectives, challenging ideas, things that push you outside your comfort zone but are crucial for broader understanding.
So balancing personalization with breadth.
Exactly. It's an ethical challenge. We need robust ethical frameworks for data privacy, sure, but also pedagogical philosophies that intentionally build in diversity, expose students to different viewpoints, maybe things they disagree with, in safe ways. It can't just be about optimizing for the next test score.
How does AI generate these incredibly detailed insights for teachers? Educational data mining, learning analytics.
Right.
What are those?
Right, EDM and learning analytics. AI integration here is transformative. It gives educators incredibly detailed insights into how students are actually learning, moment by moment, enabling really evidence-based teaching decisions.
Real-time data.
Potentially, yes. AI can track interactions, analyze patterns, maybe even detect frustration or waning attention through subtle cues and flag it for the teacher. It can automate things like attendance, summarize participation in discussions.
Freeing up the teacher's time. But is the AI making the decisions, or is the human still in charge?
That's crucial. The best practice involves human-in-the-loop machine learning, HITL-ML. The educator remains in control. They use the AI's insights, but they adjust the system based on their professional judgment, their pedagogical goals, and they're crucial for spotting and minimizing potential biases in the AI's analysis.
Because collecting all that student data raises huge ethical flags, right? Privacy, bias.
Massive concerns: privacy, data security, the potential for algorithms to reflect or even amplify societal biases. It's all critical. The effectiveness and ethical acceptability of these systems are completely tied to having strong data governance, transparency, accountability. Responsible data stewardship is non-negotiable.
Beyond analytics, AI is also offering direct support, tutoring, content creation, even grading.
Yeah, the practical applications are expanding rapidly. AI tutors using natural language processing can simulate one-on-one conversations, available 24/7. That's potentially huge for accessibility.
Content generation, too.
AI can help create quizzes, summaries, visual aids, translate materials, even design differentiated activities for students with specific needs or disabilities. It can also handle grading for certain types of assignments, offering feedback, identifying patterns, saving teachers immense amounts of time, and potentially increasing consistency.
And taking administrative chores off their plate.
Absolutely. Attendance, summarizing class discussions, assigning breakout groups. AI can delegate a lot of that, freeing up educators to do what humans do best: inspire, mentor, build relationships, lead complex discussions.
Which leads to that big debate. Is AI augmenting teachers or automating them?
It's the elephant in the room. Will AI empower teachers, make their jobs better, more focused on students? Or will it lead to fewer teachers, less human contact, replacing that vital presence? There are real concerns.
So the design has to be intentional.
It must be. AI tools need to be designed explicitly for human-AI collaboration. AI is a co-pilot, enhancing human skills and judgment, not aiming for full substitution. The ethical challenge is making sure these tools deepen human connection and critical thinking, not accidentally diminish them. And we need to proactively think about the impact on educators' jobs.
This really crystallizes that fundamental debate. Is AI an amplifier for human intelligence, or is it a cognitive crutch?
That's the core tension, isn't it? Amplifier or crutch?
The amplifier view, people like Jensen Huang from NVIDIA, they see it freeing us up.
Yeah, that perspective is that AI handles the grunt work, the rote memorization, the tedious calculations. This frees up our mental bandwidth for the really interesting stuff. Asking deeper questions, synthesizing complex information, applying knowledge creatively, they see it enhancing our cognitive toolkit.
But the crutch argument is, well, more cautious.
It is. People like Ramin Tanadi raise important questions. Does getting answers faster with AI really mean you've learned more deeply? Does it improve long-term cognitive skills? The worry is that learners become passive, just waiting for the AI summary or a solution, and those crucial skills analysis, problem-solving, creative struggle atrophy. And maybe we lose that personal connection to the learning process itself.
So what determines which way it goes, amplifier or crutch?
The consensus from the research is pretty clear. It's not really about the tech itself. It's about us. It's about the values we embed in it, the educational structures we put around it, the teaching methods we use with it. Humans are still the key drivers here, meaning new learning advances have to intentionally design AI to build cognitive resilience, intellectual independence. We need to encourage productive struggle, that effortful thinking that really cements learning. We need to teach critical evaluation of AI output. We need to focus on higher-order thinking.
The ethical responsibility is to avoid cognitive outsourcing.
Exactly.
Oh.
We don't want to outsource our thinking to the point where our own capacity diminishes. AI should be a tool for metacognition, helping us understand and improve how we think and learn.
That's a critical point. Okay, let's zoom out again to the societal level. What's the impact on individuals' cognitive enhancement, adaptability, well-being?
Well, in today's world, lifelong learning isn't just a nice idea, is it? It's pretty much essential to stay relevant, competitive, adaptable. Skills get outdated so fast now.
But it's more than just job skills, right? It affects our brains.
Definitely. Continuous learning keeps the brain active, enhances cognitive abilities, improves memory, potentially even reduces cognitive decline as we age.
Hmm.
It builds cognitive flexibility, the ability to switch thinking, adapt to new info, and it improves problem solving.
Any emotional or social benefits?
Loads. Lifelong learning is linked to better emotional health, lower stress, feelings of optimism, satisfaction. It broadens your perspective, fosters empathy, enhances cultural awareness just by exposing you to new ideas and people.
So in the AI era, literacy means something different.
It really does. It's less about knowing a fixed set of facts and more about the capacity to keep learning, to adapt, to unlearn things that are no longer true or useful. So new learning approaches had to prioritize metacognitive skills, teaching people how to learn, unlearn, relearn. Fostering a growth mindset is key.
And the ethical angle here, don't make it too easy.
Right. There's a subtle risk that AI could make learning so frictionless that we don't build that crucial cognitive resilience, that grit you need to tackle hard problems in the real world. Productive struggle matters.
Okay, moving from individuals to communities. Equity, accessibility, that digital divide we keep mentioning. AI seems like a double-edged sword here.
It absolutely is. On one hand, AI could personalize learning and reach people who were underserved before. But on the other hand, if the best AI tools are expensive, require fancy tech, or have biases baked in, it could massively widen the educational gap.
And the digital divide isn't just about having a laptop, is it?
No, it's much deeper. It's disparities in reliable internet access, yes, but also in the skills to use the technology effectively. Low-income minority students often have less access across the board, leading to worse outcomes. And then there's that digital use divide. Some kids use tech creatively, actively, while others are stuck in passive consumption mode. That often falls along socioeconomic lines, too.
So AI could accidentally supercharge these existing inequalities.
Easily. That's why digital equity has to be a foundational prerequisite for ethical AI and learning. It means not just devices, but affordable broadband, culturally relevant content, tools accessible for learners with disabilities, comprehensive teacher training. It's a whole ecosystem issue. Things like UNICEF's AI for Children initiative really highlight this systemic need.
What about culture? AI's impact on cultural exchange, homogenization, preservation.
AI and tech are definitely fueling cultural exchange like never before. Global communication, blending of ideas, values, it's happening fast. AI can even help by adapting content for different cultural learning styles, enhancing cross-cultural competence through simulations or language tools.
But the homogenization risk the fear that everything becomes the same, dominated by global trends, that's real too.
A very real concern. Dominant global cultures, often English-speaking Western cultures amplified online, could easily overshadow unique local identities, languages, traditions. Reliance on global trends might erode things that take time, effort, community, like traditional rituals.
Can tech help preserve culture too, though?
Yes, thankfully. Digital archives can preserve endangered languages, oral histories. VR and AR can create incredibly immersive experiences of cultural heritage sites or practices. So technology offers powerful tools for both preservation and revitalization.
Another double-edged sword, then.
Absolutely. AI for learning needs to be designed intentionally to celebrate and foster cultural pluralism, support local narratives, enable respectful cross-cultural dialogue. We need to ensure global connection doesn't mean cultural erasure.
This leads to that tough question. Who wins and who loses with AI and learning? Who are the beneficiaries and maybe the victims?
Yeah, the benefits are rarely spread evenly. Generally, those already in well-resourced environments with good digital access and skills, they tend to benefit most from the personalized, engaging AI tools.
And the disadvantage.
Marginalized groups,
Yeah.
low-income students, minorities, those with disabilities, they risk being left further behind. Unequal access, biased algorithms, teachers not trained to use the tools effectively. It all stacks up against them.
Yeah.
And we can't ignore the potential job displacement for human educators either.
That digital winner-take-all effect again.
Exactly. Without deliberate policies for equity, tech advancements often concentrate benefits among the privileged. AI and learning isn't neutral. It will either democratize or stratify further. That demands strong regulations, public investment in digital infrastructure for everyone, and a real commitment to human-centered AI that prioritizes equity over just, say, national competitiveness.
Let's dig into human nature, conflict, and learning's role. Why are we often so resistant to change? Where do bias and conflict originate?
Resistance to change. It's fundamentally human, isn't it? Often comes from deep emotional responses to uncertainty, feeling threatened, maybe just not understanding what's happening. Your amygdala, your brain's threat detector, can light up. Studies even show something like 70% of change initiatives fail, often due to psychological factors like loss aversion. We hate losing what we have or just sticking with the status quo.
And aggression, where does that come from? Is it learned? Innate?
And it's complicated. Multifactorial. Political reasons, socioeconomic pressures, cultural norms, even medical or psychological factors. It's shaped by that gene-environment interaction again. Seeing aggression around you is a powerful environmental factor, but there can also be neurobiological vulnerabilities,
What about bias, like racial bias? How do we pick that up?
often incredibly early through observational social learning. Kids absorb biases from their environment, often implicitly, without anyone consciously teaching them. The first step to tackling bias, though, is becoming aware of your own unconscious ones. It's hard, but necessary.
And our moral development plays a role in group dynamics and conflict.
Definitely. Think Lawrence Kohlberg's stages of moral reasoning, or moral foundations theory. Our moral intuitions often come first, reasoning follows. And morality isn't just about harm and fairness. Things like loyalty to your group, respect for authority, sanctity, they're powerful moral drivers too.
Which can be good and bad.
Exactly. Morality binds groups together, which is good, but it can also blind individuals, leading them to prioritize group benefit over individual ethics, sometimes with terrible consequences. And then you have societal factors like Merton's strain theory,
Which says,
that when there's a gap between society's goals, like wealth, and the legitimate ways to achieve them, it creates strain, potentially leading to deviance or normlessness, anomie.
so what does this mean for new learning advances? How can learning help?
It means learning can't just be about information. It has to address these deep psychological and neurobiological roots of resistance, bias, conflict. AI could potentially help by facilitating self-reflection, maybe exposing people to diverse perspectives in controlled, safe ways, helping challenge biased mental models. But it also means tackling the systemic issues, the structural inequalities that breed strain and conflict, not just focusing on individual attitudes.
Can AI actively help foster intercultural understanding or mitigate conflict?
There's definite potential. AI, especially natural language processing, can analyze vast amounts of text, understand nuance, even emotional tone across languages, potentially bridging communication gaps.
Yeah.
Machine learning can sift through historical data, social media, news to spot early warning signs of conflict, identify key drivers, map influence networks, perhaps offering a more objective view.
Then build empathy?
Potentially, yes. Through things like interactive simulations or VR experiences that immerse you in another cultural perspective. That can be powerful for building cross-cultural competence. AI can also curate culturally specific learning content. And just learning in diverse groups is hugely beneficial. It fosters respect, critical thinking, empathy, just by exposure to different views, even uncomfortable ones, in a structured setting.
But AI isn't going to solve conflict on its own.
Absolutely not. It can provide data, facilitate communication, but it can't replicate genuine human connection, trust, empathy, the things truly needed for conflict resolution. Ethical AI design here means enhancing human dialogue and negotiation, supporting relationships, not creating passive reliance on algorithms to tell us how to get along.
This leads to societal tolerance. How do we adapt to diverse learning outcomes and viewpoints? What is tolerance in this context?
The study defines tolerance as that middle ground. Not full acceptance, maybe, but definitely not unrestrained opposition. It's creating the space for different groups to express identities, access rights. It has positive psychological benefits, too.
And diverse learning environments help build this tolerance.
Immensely. Research shows diversity enhances critical thinking, problem solving. It just prepares you better for a complex, diverse world. You learn how different cultures might approach problems, how information itself can be viewed differently. It builds intercultural knowledge, empathy.
So the goal is adaptive tolerance.
Yes, equipping people not just to put up with difference, but to thrive within it, to see diversity as a strength, especially in our hyper-connected, AI-influenced world.
Can AI play a role in this kind of moral education?
It should. AI learning tools should be designed to intentionally expose learners to different viewpoints, facilitate constructive debate, provide frameworks for navigating tricky ethical dilemmas across cultures. AI can be a tool for moral and social emotional learning, fostering empathy, critical reasoning, shared human values, while still respecting cultural specifics.
Okay, let's bring in the natural world. Human learning, nature, and ecological balance. How interconnected are they?
Intrinsically linked. Nature isn't just scenery. It sustains us, enhances our well-being, benefits us in countless ways. Yet, worryingly, many kids today feel quite disconnected from it.
Can schools help reconnect them?
Yes, studies show that schools promoting nature connectedness see improvements in behaviors for learning, better social skills, self-regulation, attention, resilience. Just being in nature helps kids learn.
And the idea of a balance of nature, is that how ecologists see it?
Mostly, no. Ecologists largely view ecosystems as dynamic, constantly changing systems, not static, balanced ones. But human impact on those dynamics is obviously critical. Think of the Gaia hypothesis Earth as a complex, self-regulating system involving life. Or Bronfenbrenner's theory, showing how our development is shaped by nested environments, from family right out to the natural world, and now, increasingly, the technological environment too.
So what are the AI implications here for understanding nature?
New learning advances need to help us understand nature as complex, dynamic, and something we profoundly influence. AI could be amazing for simulating ecological dynamics, helping us grasp nuances beyond simple rules. It means environmental education has to be core, with AI potentially providing data on our ecological footprints, simulating impacts, promoting sustainable habits.
Our advancements have clearly had a massive impact on global ecosystems.
Huge impact. The Industrial Revolution brought progress, but also pollution. Today, population growth, overconsumption, deforestation, fossil fuels, industrial agriculture. They're driving climate change, ocean acidification, biodiversity loss. Even science itself has a footprint. Research uses resources, generates waste.
But science also helps identify and solve these problems.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Scientific learning led to banning DDT, Montreal Protocol to protect the ozone layer, the Paris Agreement on climate. Science is both part of the problem and essential to the solution.
What about AI's own footprint, the advanced learning tech itself?
This is crucial and often overlooked. Large-scale AI isn't just software. It relies on interlaced chains of resource extraction, human labor, and algorithmic processing. Mining rare earth minerals, energy-hungry data centers, electronic waste. There's a direct link between the hollowing out of the earth and the data AI consumes.
So sustainable AI is a must.
It has to be. New learning advances must include a commitment to sustainable science and eco-conscious AI. Designing systems for energy efficiency, minimizing waste, being transparent about the footprint. It's an ethical imperative.
Education's role seems central in fostering environmental stewardship.
It's the cornerstone for building a sustainable future. Environmental education gives people the knowledge, skills, values to tackle these complex issues. It builds critical thinking, promotes active citizenship. It also builds resilience, especially for vulnerable communities often hit hardest by climate change.
Experiential learning helps too, getting hands dirty.
Definitely. Outdoor education, conservation projects. They build that connection to nature, foster a lifelong commitment. Tools like ecological footprint calculators make it personal. And tech like simulations, VRR can deepen understanding of complex systems.
Ultimately, it's about changing the narrative.
Yes. Tackling environmental crises requires a fundamental shift in values, behaviors, culture. New learning advances need to actively cultivate a sustainable cultural narrative where environmental responsibility is part of our identity, our ethics, our daily lives. AI can support this immersive experiences, feedback on impact, culturally relevant content connecting us to nature and collective action.
This leads us directly to the ethical and moral frameworks needed for AI in learning. What are the absolute core principles?
Okay, key principles. Transparency and explainability AI decisions shouldn't be black boxes. We need to understand why they're made. Fairness and non-discrimination AI must treat everyone equitably, actively working against bias in data or algorithms. We've seen worries about AI proctoring tools, for example.
Privacy and security.
Non-negotiable. AI uses vast data, so respecting privacy, securing data, controlling access, complying with regulations like FERPA, it's paramount. Transparency about data use is key. Then, accountability and human oversight, someone needs to be responsible. Humans must oversee AI development, deployment, ensure it's fair, fix errors. AI should augment humans, not replace their judgment.
We keep coming back to bias. How do we realistically address it in AI algorithms?
It's a continuous process, not a one-off fix. Bias in training data can absolutely perpetuate or even amplify real-world discrimination. So you need constant effort, identifying bias, accounting for it, mitigating it throughout the AI's life cycle, ethical data sourcing, careful management, ongoing monitoring,
And specific strategies for educational AI.
regular audits of AI tools for bias, developing guidelines for inclusive, anti-racist AI prompts and interactions, and always that human oversight, because humans have the moral compass to review AI outputs and step in when needed.
AI can scale bias so quickly.
That's the bias multiplier effect.
Right.
It can automate prejudice at scale. So rigorous auditing and designing AI proactively to promote equity and challenge stereotypes is absolutely vital for new learning advances.
What about defining right and wrong? Moral statute in AI's influence. Can something like natural law help here?
Natural law is this philosophical idea of universal moral principles, discoverable through reason inherent in human nature itself. It contrasts with positive law, which is human-made.
What does it relate to AI?
Natural law suggests humans have a purpose or function to develop reason, pursue knowledge, cultivate virtues like justice, courage. The common good is central. This gives us a framework to evaluate AI. Does it align with human flourishing? Does it respect human dignity and rights? The UNESCO AI ethics recommendation draws on this, emphasizing proportionality, safety, privacy, human oversight.
Is there a risk of relying too much on AI for moral guidance?
Huge risk. We could lose our own moral agency, outsource our ethical reasoning. AI doesn't understand human experience, cultural nuance, the why behind ethics. It can process rules, but it lacks wisdom.
So AI as a moral assistant, maybe, but never the judge.
Precisely. The science of the science here points to human purpose and ethics, maybe informed by natural law, as the ultimate guide. AI can be an assistant, provide data, help explore ethical dilemmas, but the final moral judgment must remain human. AI development has to be anchored in human rights and serve human ends.
Okay, let's try to pull all these threads together. A schematic view. AI's interconnected impact on learning, society, nature. It's not just tech in a vacuum.
Not at all. It's a central node in this vast interconnected system. Remember that vast matrix of capacities, resource extraction, human labor, algorithmic processing, global networks. There's that deep link between digging materials out of the earth and capturing data to feed AI. It's all connected.
What are the key components in this system view?
You've got the AI learning systems themselves,
Yeah.
algorithms, data mining, tutoring, content generation, adaptive platforms, VR/IR. The inputs are huge data sets, student info, prior knowledge, individual differences, context, human feedback. The outputs are personalized learning, feedback, content, assessments, insights.
And the impact ripples outwards.
Multi-layered impact on the individual learning level. Potential for enhanced cognition, adaptability, motivation. But risks of passive learning, over-reliance, filter bubbles on the societal level. Potential for better outcomes, evidence-based policy, mobility, cultural understanding, but risks of worsening inequality, bias, privacy issues, job displacement, manipulation.
Really the environmental layer.
The deep interconnection between human development and nature. But also AI's own footprint, energy, resources, waste, contributing to broader environmental problems. Yet learning in AI can also foster stewardship, simulate ecosystems, provide data for sustainability.
And ethics overlaying everything.
Yes, those core principles, transparency, fairness, privacy, accountability, human oversight, sustainability, must guide the entire system. The challenge is embedding diverse ethics, avoiding over-reliance on AI for moral calls, ensuring it aligns with fundamental human values.
It really is a complex feedback loop.
Totally dynamic. AI learning affects people and society, which affects our interaction with nature, and environmental consequences feed back into society and learning. And the material demands of AI itself are a huge part of that loop, often ignored. We need a holistic approach, designing AI to be a net positive across all these layers.
Which brings us to maybe the most crucial question. How do we cultivate a healthy, educated, and fundamentally good child in this AI-driven future? What does that ideal look like?
It requires that holistic vision, integrating everything we've talked about: cognitive science, psychology, ethics, environmental awareness. When we say ideal child, we mean representative of average, decent people, hardworking, honest, family-oriented, peaceful, with aspirations. Development is always that interaction between the child and their environment, leveraging the brain's plasticity in nurturing settings from the very start.
So for a healthy child in this future, AI needs careful handling.
Very careful. Balance tech with essential human elements. For young kids, AI tools should maybe be tangible, embodied. Interactions need to be synchronous, adult-mediated, helping kids learn social cues and AI's limits. Crucially, AI must be embedded within real human relationships and communities. Personalization, yes. Replacement of human connection, absolutely not. Parents and educators need support to guide kids wisely.
And an educated child It's more than facts now.
Far more. Focus on higher-order thinking, cognitive flexibility, adaptability. AI can personalize, yes, but it must amplify intelligence, not breed passivity. Encourage critical evaluation of AI output. Promote productive struggle for deep learning. The curriculum has to teach how to learn, unlearn, relearn. Those metacognitive skills are paramount.
And a good child, how do we cultivate moral character?
This is vital. Integrate ethical reasoning, maybe drawing on those universal natural law principles. Moral education has to shape character, emotional capacity for ethical choices. AI systems themselves must be built on fairness, non-discrimination, dignity. AI can help explore dilemmas, provide data, but human judgment is final. Kids need to learn to discern truth from manipulation, challenge bias.
And connection to the natural world remains essential.
Absolutely essential. A deep connection to and responsibility for nature requires environmental education, fostering critical thinking, sustainable practices, resilience. Experiential learning in nature is key. AI can support this with simulations, data, but the goal is that sustainable cultural narrative where stewardship is part of who we are.
So the overall takeaway is deliberate, human-centered design across the board.
That's the core message. Fostering that healthy, educated, good child demands intentional design of learning environments, prioritizing holistic development, critical thinking, ethics, ecological responsibility. AI must be a tool for human flourishing, not a source of unintended harm or dependence.
Okay, let's crystallize this. Key recommendations, mitigation strategies. How do we prioritize human-centered AI design in practice?
First, emphasize human oversight and accountability. Implement human-in-the-loop systems where educators are in control, adjusting AI based on pedagogy, minimizing bias. Clear accountability, maybe ethics review boards. Second, foster human-AI collaboration, not substitution. Design AI to automate admin, free teachers for mentoring, AI as a co-pilot. Third, cultivate metacognitive skills and critical AI literacy. Focus on higher-order thinking, teach how AI works, its limits, biases. Public understanding matters.
And ensuring equity, accessibility, inclusivity. What are the action points?
Bridge the digital divide holistically devices, reliable internet, especially for underserved areas. But go beyond access, tackle the digital use divide, empower active, critical use. Design for universal accessibility tools must work for kids with special needs, disabilities. Use culturally responsive pedagogy in AI design and prompts. And actively mitigate bias, rigorous ongoing auditing, proactive design for equity, challenging stereotypes.
For fostering ethical development and societal resilience.
Integrate moral and ethical education, natural law principles, ethical frameworks, developing intrinsic morality and emotional capacity. Use AI to explore dilemmas, but keep human judgment supreme. Promote intercultural understanding, leverage AI for communication, empathy-building simulations, structured dialogue, create safe environments for exposure to diverse views, cultivate adaptive tolerance, and address the roots of resistance and aggression. Acknowledge psychological factors, focus on unlearning bias, tackle systemic inequalities.
Finally, integrating environmental stewardship.
Embed environmental education as core critical thinking for sustainability, resilience. Use AI for simulations, impact feedback, promoting eco-friendly behaviors. Promote sustainable AI development itself. Acknowledge and reduce AI's footprint. Advocate for energy efficiency. And cultivate that sustainable cultural narrative. Integrate environmental responsibility into identity, ethics, daily practice, moving towards dynamic interaction with nature.
This deep dive has really shown that the science of human learning is at this incredible crossroads, hasn't it? Profoundly shaped by AI.
Absolutely. Human learning is dynamic, the brain is malleable, and AI is this powerful new environmental force. Huge potential, but also significant challenges. The digital divide, bias, passive learning, cultural homogenization.
The science of the science, then, isn't just how we learn, but how we responsibly guide learning in this new era.
Exactly. It's a call for a fundamentally human-centered approach to AI. Prioritizing ethics above all. Transparency, fairness, privacy, accountability, and constant human oversight.
And that ultimate goal, cultivating that healthy, educated, good child. It requires that holistic development, critical agency, ethical reasoning, ecological responsibility.
AI should amplify our potential, bridge divides, foster sustainability. It shouldn't become a crutch that weakens us or deepens our problems.
So the provocative thought to leave everyone with
is that the future of human learning with AI isn't set in stone by the technology. It's going to be determined by our values, by the structures we build around it, the teaching philosophies we adopt. It's really up to us to create a future where these powerful advances truly serve everyone, individuals, society, and the planet we share.
This is DigitView.